Matt in Cheshire has given us a call about this. Matt, good to talk to you again. At what point would you like to make to me, and also Ralph Schoelhammer is here as well?
Yeah, guten Morgen, Peter, out of respect for Ralph.
Good morning.
You have to excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold. I watched Javier Milei's speech earlier in the week, and he basically listed statistically and unarguably sort of the benefits of capitalism for the West. And being from South America and having sort of experienced the other side of socialism and failed policies, he has, again, an unarguable viewpoint where he can actually state that these things don't work and we can give you the evidence that it doesn't work. So there is a way out of it for the West, and that's to abandon the political parties and the corporations that are imposing this stuff on things, and to go with new parties like they're doing in Germany, like they're doing in Holland, like they're doing all over Europe. If we start with a new fresh sheet of paper and a new politics, these people will just be dismissed anyway.
Stay where you are for a second, Matt. I want to put that to Ralph. I mean, how realistic is that, do you think?
No, I think this is a wonderful point, and it's absolutely true. I mean, and we see this is where the multi-party systems in Europe have a significant advantage, because it's easier to kind of push new parties and to push them closer to power. But what we will also see, and this is a warning I kind of want to place here right now, because I think many of your viewers will experience this in the months to come, the media will drive into hypergear in 2024, because there is this counter movement coming, whether it's with Trump resurging in the United States, whether with the Alternative for Germany in Germany, and that, or Geert Wilders in the Netherlands. And what we will see is exactly what I said at the beginning of today's show. In this year, everybody who slightly diverges to the right of center will be a fascist, a Nazi, the second coming of Hitler. This will become worse and worse and worse and worse. And you can already see it in the media, because they are terrified that the people are actually calling for a course correction. So they will use the most effective club they have, which is to try to kind of characterize everybody who wants a new kind of policy as a Nazi, as a fascist, as a bigot, as a racist, as all these kind of things. So this will be very, very difficult, I think, for many people to withstand this assault that's going to come. I'm absolutely convinced of this.
Matt, what do you make of what Ralph has said there?
I think we're all numb to that now. Anyway, we had that since 2016 over here, haven't we? That would also make the chairman of Goldman Sachs a Nazi this week, because he praised Trump. And I think basically
just to point out, we don't think the chairman of Goldman Sachs is a Nazi, because he has more money than you and me, Matt. And I don't want him to sue us. So there we are.
No, he praised Trump. What I'm saying is they would basically tar him with the same brush because he made positive comments about Trump. We're numb to it in this country. I'm sure they are all over Europe too. And it doesn't mean anything. It's just that this is the level of the left. They've got no ideas, no policies. All they've got is abuse, activism, and basically they're like little students trapped in adult bodies for the rest of their lives.
What do you make of that, Ralph?
I think it's true. Of course, the other problem is it comes with potential legal repercussions. For example, in Germany, they're talking about banning the AfD. So you have this absurd situation that, like in Saxony, one of the German provinces...
Many people see the AfD as racist. There have been members of the AfD who have said some very, very offensive things.
That is true, but I don't think that it first of all, it presents their overall position. And the other thing is, if the established parties are not receptive to the will of the people will turn to, let's say, less savior parties. I mean, this is a completely...
We've seen that in the Netherlands with Geert Wilders, for example.
Yes, and that's we have entirely forgotten, I think, also in the media, what democracy actually is. The whole point of democracy is not that it's morally superior. The whole point of democracy is that it's a system that is receptive to the will of the people, that is receptive to kind of what people are concerned about. So what we see now, like in Great Britain, if people say, this whole migration thing is really not working for us. But the established parties kind of, put their hands on their ears and say, nah, can't hear you. At some point, they will look for alternatives, and the same is happening in Europe. And the idea, as some parties have, that they are entitled to rule and therefore can make use of, for example, the state apparatus to entrench their rule, I think that is a very, very dangerous trend. You can have a situation where, I'm slightly being hyperbolic now, but you can have a situation where you use quasi-fascist methods in, let's say, the defense from fascism, but the outcome then is the same. Like if you oppose opposing parties, if you say, as the World Economic Forum does, misinformation is the biggest problem, therefore we have to crack down on certain kinds of information, we have to ban certain books, we have to ban certain commentators. I mean, you move in a, at least directionally, into a totalitarian direction, and I think we should be mindful of that.
And I think a lot of people are very, very, very worried about that.
Yes.
Ralph, thank you very much indeed. For the hour, we have had Ralph Schoelhammer, economist and political theorist at Webster University in Vienna, and I don't think we've scratched the surface. I want you back in the studio next time you're in London.
Gladly.
So thank you very much, and maybe even down the line before then.